The Weather Lab. Here's Rob's forecast.
Welcome back. Well, the heat's going to be building this weekend. Rain chances going down. And today, actually, we finished off on the hottest temperature so far for 2019, 95 degrees. But it was also a wet month, but just falling outside of the top 10. We'll show you the almanac going into the break. But first off, though, tomorrow's the beginning of hurricane season, so we have to address that. And the latest forecast that came down from NOAA has a few more storms in it than Dr. Klotzbaugh's forecast, but they give a range, so there's lots of room for error here. But these numbers mean absolutely nothing to us if we can't tell you where the storms are going to go. But NOAA's calling for 9 to 15 tropical storms, so it should be 9 to 14 now because we've already had one subtropical storm. 4 to 8 hurricanes, which is right near the normal, and major hurricanes, they're going for 2 to 4. Dr. Klotzbaugh only going for 2, but where will they go? It just takes one storm to hit you to make it a bad season, and it could be the only storm, like Hurricane Andrew or Hurricane Audrey, that were both in El Nino years. And we're going to talk more about El Nino in just a bit. Now, I showed you this a little bit earlier. These are water temperature anomalies. Where is it warmer than normal? That's in yellow and orange. Where is it cooler than normal? In blue. So we take a look, especially in the main development region. This is key on telling us how many storms the Atlantic Basin may hold. And right now, a lot of subnormal temperatures out here, which is good, but this could change in a few months. So we'll keep our fingers crossed on that. And then as you go farther to the west, we see warmer temperatures, but the Caribbean cooler than normal, and a little bit cooler than normal in the southeastern Gulf of Mexico, but the Gulf Stream above normal off the east coast, and the rest of the Gulf of Mexico above normal, following the tradition of the last 10 years or so, where temperatures in the Gulf have been running about 1 to 2 degrees above normal compared to, say, 1960 to 1990. So there's been actually warming going on in the Gulf of Mexico. So that's factor one. The other factor is the El Nino factor, and that's when you have the winds blowing across portions of a good part of the Caribbean. And based on that, we think we're going to see less activity down in the Caribbean, but perhaps with the higher shear in the Caribbean, perhaps lower shear in the northern Gulf Coast. That's what Dr. Klotzbaugh was talking about the last couple of hurricane conferences. And what that will do is promote nearshore development and enhance existing systems and perhaps disturbances. So we're going to have to watch that very closely. And then also watch for fizzling frontal boundaries. Fronts that get into the northern Gulf of Mexico or off the east coast, they can always back up across Florida and move into the Gulf of Mexico. Farther to the east, I think there will be a storm track way out in the Atlantic. Maybe this is where the lion's share of the activity will be. We can only hope that most of the storms stay out to sea. Now, we do have an area of interest already, believe it or not, down toward the Bay of Campeche. A lot of deep tropical moisture down here. In fact, the National Hurricane Center gives us about a 30% chance of development over the next 5 days. I don't think it's going to develop, but I think this moisture is eventually going to funnel up the western Gulf of Mexico and perhaps impact Louisiana as we go toward Thursday, Friday of next week. Now, close to home, we do see those storms rumbling across the area, and they did get briefly severe across southwest Louisiana. This is a 24-hour loop, so you can see how those storms fired up, and now we just have some debris clouds left over. And this is the radar, and again, the strongest storms right around St. Martinville by Catahoula down to the Lauraville area. Watch how the storms just fire up here, and we'll come in even with the Doppler radar and show you the same thing. A lot of cloud-to-ground lightning at the beginning of the loop. Some wind damage over in Calcasieu Parish. Now things have quieted down, but 5 inches, better than 5 inches of rain in St. Martinville this evening. Now, as we look at the forecast going into tomorrow, it looks relatively quiet. A few showers and storms in the afternoon. I'm going to keep rain chances 30%, but it looks like best rain chances basing on eastward for tomorrow. And as we head into Sunday, fewer showers, hotter temperatures, and that heat index well into the 100-degree range. Now, moving further down the road, as we look at the European model and head toward the middle part of next week, we'll be watching the moisture coming at us from the southwest, and it looks like storms will be developing overnight Thursday night into Friday, and this looks very heavy indeed, and we'll have to watch that. And as we look at the European model output going over the next 10 days, hey, there's a pretty good rainfall in here, maybe a 5 to 8 inch rainfall. It's a long ways away and things could change. But notice off to the north where it's flooding, more heavy rains for portions of Oklahoma and Arkansas, which will eventually get into the Mississippi as well. Mid 70s tonight. Tomorrow we get into the lower 90s. That heat index better than 100. And then as we head into Sunday, even hotter. So showers ending, warm and humid, quiet later on tonight as the clouds thin out. 74 the low, 94, 95 the high tomorrow with the heat index pushing about 103. Late afternoon or early evening storm possible at 30%. And as we go through Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, temperatures well into the mid 90s. Might see a 96 or 97 creep in there as well. Rain chances down to 10%. And then toward the end of the week, the day after the spillway opens, some heavy rains possible, but that doesn't directly affect the Atchafalaya, other than if you get 4 inches of rain, the Atchafalaya will be 4 inches higher.
Right.
It's not like, well, a ton of water runs in and it
Another
really
bump,
rises
right?
up. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Rob.